Hey guys, what's up? Um, so it's Sunday and I usually do a game analysis on Sunday because I usually play on Saturday an over the board game. Although in this case I didn't play yesterday. So I wanted to share with you another game uh, by myself, another game from the past. It's a game I played in 2000 in 2014, and it's a very special game because it was my first victory over an international master in an over-the-board game. So I just wanted to go through the game and share it with you. As you can see from the analysis, well, I was black, and as you can see, there was a point in the middle of the game where I terribly blundered, and my opponent didn't find the proper way to kill me, and then it's all black's advantage from that point on. So I have to say this was the final round of a tournament, and I think a very important factor in this game was the pressure of, because my opponent had to win the game to enter the prizes, and I think that pressure helped me because I basically played for the draw all the game, and it helped me, that pressure, and actually by winning I took the prize that he was going to take had he won. So hey Farouk, what's up? So okay, I'm going to go through the game. In this year, this is not my first victory over an international master, because this very same year, I think some months before, I defeated Lawrence Trent in an online game. But of course that's a different story. It was a blitz game and it's not the same. But this is my first over the board game over an international master. And okay, there we go. So as I mentioned, this was the final round of a tournament, and he needed the victory to get his intended prize, and I decided to play as safe as possible. So I played the Queen d6 Scandinavian, which I was a fan of in that time of my life. So after knight c3 I went Queen d6, and there are several ideas, or at least, well, there are several variants in this opening, but if black survives the opening, it tends to be very, very equal. So d4 main line. I knew my opponent was he's known for being how do I say it in English? He studies a lot of opening theory, so he's known for that, and he's usually playing the main lines. So I like that because he went for the main line, which I don't usually get when I play this type of openings. And yeah, by playing the main line, I sort of knew what I was doing as well. So main line goes after c6, knight f3. Sorry, I didn't play c6, I played knight f6 first, but it's the same, knight f3, c6. And here he played knight e5, which is the main line. Knight bd7 has to be played to contest this knight, and now queen c4 attacking the queen. There are other lines, but this is considered the main line. 7, queen f3, and the idea of queen f3 is to support this bishop to go here and attack this queen. So knight b6, with the idea that after bishop f4 the queen goes to d7. He didn't play bishop f4 here though. He played knight back to e5, getting out of the theory. So I think the theory continues with this, and queen d7, very interesting move, seeking to trade queens ASAP, because in the Scandinavian, if you get to trade queens, position is more or less safe. And then there's a lot of theory there, but here my opponent went with the knight back to e5. So his idea, I think, is if I try to repeat by going back, then he plays bishop f4, and then it's going to be risky for me. So I played a bit risky move. I can't remember why this is not good, but okay, I played bishop e6, trying to prepare the knight jump to d5. Since I played this almost 4 years ago, I can't remember most of the things I was thinking. Anyway, he played bishop f4 here now, and the intention is more or less clear to go for this trick, knight g6. Actually, knight takes f7 also works here. So I played a very tricky move, or cheeky. I played knight b d5. I think that's not the best move, and I think he could go here. The engine says the evaluation goes from 0.2 to 0.4, so, and I think he can play knight g6 here, but it's really complicated, and he didn't want to go for complications, and he played bishop back to g3. So okay, I took here, and he took with the pawn, which I think, okay, I don't want to use the word dubious, but why would you? I mean, I understand he tries to get some imbalance and something going on, because let us remember, he needs to win this game. Okay, so he took with the pawn, and then I entered d5, and after queen e3, I think I was scared still of these ideas, so I moved my queen to a5, pinning this pawn, so preventing this push. And now he played a move that I'm not sure. I mean, it seems strange to me, but during the game I thought it was okay. Knight to c4. With the idea maybe to force me to go all the way back to d8, because here I'm I'm losing the queen, right? So okay, I took it, which is normal. Bishop takes, and now instead of the normal developing move, I played knight e5 because I wanted more trades. Let's remember, I'm not entirely playing for the draw in this game, but I'm playing against a really strong opponent, and he has the pressure to play for the win. So I understand that if I get to trade pieces and have a healthy position, it's going to be a lot of pressure for him, and he's going to have to take risks, and he did so. So okay, I'm threatening this, I'm threatening the queen as well, so he's more or less forced to give the bishop pair back with bishop takes d5, cd, and now he takes no time to immediately castle, because I'm 1, 2, 3 moves away from castling myself, so I'm still in risk of getting under severe pressure here. Okay, position is around equal, but there are some imbalances. I think my structure is better, but my king is in some danger. Fortunately, I got to trade a lot of pieces, so it's not a lot of danger as it could be. So instead of e6 here, I played rook c8, sort of hinting at taking this pawn. and also trying to prevent any breaks. So I think rook c8 is a good move. Here he played rook a b1, attacking my pawn. So I still don't have time to play e6 because a rook on the 7th would be fatal. So I played b6, and now he went. Well, by the way, if I try to take here and trade queens, then the rook on the 7th is going to be really annoying. So I needed to prevent that. And after that, he defended the pawn with rook to b3. Okay, so this is the part of the game where the action started. Here I'm 1, 2, 3 moves away from safety, and my opponent is trying to sacrifice some pawns to be able to attack my king in the center. And even if I get to play e6, I can be attacked very easily. Like f4 f5 is an idea. The bishop will be able to use some dark squares at some point, maybe here, and a rook can come to attack b5, which is not protected with the pawn e6. Yeah, a bit scary still to have the king here. So in this position I remembered one plan that Tivyakov used in some games of the Queen d6 Scandinavian, where instead of going for the castle, which is a very slow plan, he kept the bishop here on f8 with the only purpose to defend the e7 square, with the only purpose to have this square protected and keep the king there safe, and decided to develop the rook via h6. And that's what I did. I played h5 in this position, saying, okay, I'm not going to create any weaknesses around my king yet. I might be able to put the rook on e6 instead. So here my opponent played a move that the engine does not like. I think the engine wanted to immediately sacrifice this pawn with c4, which is kind of hard to see, although my opponent found that idea later in the game. But yes, my opponent did a move instead that makes some sense, only some. He played bishop d6. Of course he's not attacking here yet, although he might try with rook e1 later, but his idea is to go here and keep his stuff together. So I think I need to react to the idea of rook e1 followed by bishop takes e7, and my rook and my queen cannot defend, so I played rook h6, which, by the way, was part of my plan anyway. So I'm attacking the bishop, and I'm also threatening some rook e6 at some point. So he moved the bishop out, attacking my queen, and now I have a decision to make. Do I grab the pawn or do I leave? Like here, or maybe here. Probably to b5. No, b5 might have some issues actually. So if I want to go in this diagonal, probably a4 is better than queen b5. Anyway, I decided to take the pawn. I knew he was going to play rook a3 and then rook takes a7. So the question is, do I have time to grab this pawn and after rook a3 grab this pawn and then after rook takes a7 survive to the position, because the rook from a7 is going to attack this pawn. But then I do have rook e6 maybe. So okay, this was a complicated decision to make, but I decided to go for it. I thought, after assessing the lines I was calculating, I thought it wasn't my worst option. Like, if I started to play passive, I felt some danger here, so I thought I should go for that. And in a way, I thought it's more pressure for him, being, you know, he has to play for the win and he's a pawn down now. So, okay, we follow the obvious line, rook a3, queen takes e2, rook takes a7. And here, I can't remember what was the problem with rook e6. There's probably some. There's probably some problem. I can't remember. I guess he attacks two pawns with a move like queen f3. Maybe that was the problem, that the pawns are hanging, and I didn't want any part of that. Anyway, here I played queen e4, which made some sense to try to trade queens. The engine, I think, doesn't like this. Well, it passes from minus 0.1 to plus 0.1, so doesn't like. Okay, I played queen e4, and I'm feeling confident because I'm a pawn up, and if we get to trade queens, then my king is not so in danger. So here my opponent, of course, didn't trade queens. He wants to attack, so he needs to keep the stronger pieces. And now I did play rook e6, with the idea that if he tries to attack with his pieces, I might have some back rank ideas at some point. And also maybe queen e2, trying to trade queens again. Maybe a decent plan. Okay. Still not easy to develop, because if I play g6, the bishop cannot go to h6, but okay, maybe g6, bishop g7 can be played at some point. Anyway, here I felt like I defended a lot this pawn, so I felt safe now. But of course, I need to be worried about some other ways to attack me. And he went for it. He played queen a2 here, with the clear intention to start attacking. So this is a strong threat now. Queen a4 check with the idea of queen d7 mate. That's strong. I have to be careful. And I played a move that apparently is not the best. Now, the best move, according to the engine, is f6. And had I seen what it came after my move, I would probably decide to play f6. Even though it's a move I never like to do. I think f6 is safer here because, you know, e7 is totally defended and safe, so the king is going to be on f7 more or less safe. But if I keep this here, the king is not gonna be safe if he gets attacked this way. So yeah, I took some risks here, and I played rook e6 with the idea to anticipate the checks and being able to finally develop this way. Although, yeah, maybe not the best way. But now that I played here, I no longer have the chance to go g6 and bishop g7 without having to trade my queen for rook and bishop. So yeah, this is a little bit risky. And also because of the checks on a8 and on a4, I cannot put any of the rooks on c7. So yeah, rook e6 asking for trouble. So maybe f6 was, I mean, surely f6 was a better move according to the engine, but maybe it was even a very human move after all, because here, I don't know. So now it's the moment where my opponent played apparently a bad move, but a very, very aggressive one. He played c4 now. The engine doesn't like it. The engine wants to play rook b7, I think, to follow with queen a7. You know, this is a weak pawn, and yeah, the engine assesses this position still as good for white, being a pawn down, so a lot of danger here. Now he played c4 to open more lines. I don't blame him. One of the ideas, I think the main idea of this push, is to unravel this bishop to defend e1 and be able to play rook e1 to attack on e7. I think that's the main idea of the move. Yeah, basically that's it. And here I blundered. As you can see here, there's a blunder in this game that I made. This was my blunder in this moment. And the funny part about it is that it took me like 40 minutes to calculate this move. And I can't remember now everything I calculated, but I know I calculated a lot here. Sorry, my dog was doing something. So it took me like 40 minutes to decide on a move here. My main choices were to take the pawn with the pawn, or with the rook, and I think there was some other choice. I can't remember. I think queen takes d4 loses for something. Yeah, probably to pawn takes pawn, and then I cannot block the checks. Here, according to the engine, after pawn takes pawn, black is totally fine. Almost minus 0.6. That's the computer assessment after pawn takes pawn. I was scared. I think I wasn't scared about anything about pawn takes pawn. The thing was, I wanted to make rook takes pawn work, and I was calculating it, because my idea was, okay, if rook takes pawn works, it's like the safest position ever, 2 pawns up. If I'm getting killed, then I will do pawn takes pawn instead. And yeah, I was calculating for like 40 minutes, and I didn't see the only move order that wins for white after that, so I took it. And then my opponent thought for about 20 minutes, and he didn't see it either, so I was very lucky. And actually I was very lucky not to realize during the game that I had blundered, because otherwise it's hard to continue the game. So I played rook takes pawn, thinking, okay, after queen a4 check, I go back to c6, which was what happened actually. I go back, and after rook c1, which is more or less the obvious idea, more or less, he also has rook e1, then rook c1, and after this I can move my king, because if I move my queen here, then I might be in in severe trouble with rook a8. I saw this was losing because of the tremendous pings, and if king d7 rook takes, and then I'm losing the rook on c6. So I knew after rook c1 I cannot play this defensive queen e6 move, but I had this king d8 saving move, because now he cannot take here because of the back rank issues. After rook takes, I play queen b1 check, and it's game over, because the 3 pieces that defend the back rank are not coordinated on a single square. So I will collect all of them until the checkmate. So, and if he tries with the queen, then I just take the queen, and then still the same issue. Okay, so I saw that, and actually that was what happened in the game. But here we both missed the other move order. Instead of rook c1 followed by, to be able to play rook a8 after queen e6, the other move order worked very well for white. Rook a8 here wins on the spot. I'm losing a rook here. Because now I have no time for king d8. Basically, it's a stupid move that loses a full rook, and there's no back rank issues because he didn't move this rook. So now rook a8 threatening this rook, threatening both rooks actually, because both of them are pinned, so neither of them defends the other, and if I go here he takes one and then the other. So here I'm pretty much forced to defend both with the queen, and then we transpose into this position which I had seen that it was losing, but I didn't see this move order with rook a8 first, and I was lucky he didn't see it either, and I was lucky that neither of us realized during the game. So after rook c1 I played my saving king d8 move, and now the position is back to equality according to the engine, minus 0.1, but I'm 2 pawns up, so still dangerous for me, but at least I survived. Okay, so now that he realizes he cannot take because of the back rank, and I'm actually threatening because I am pinned myself, I'm threatening to take, he needs to move the rook, he does it here. And now this was another important part of my calculation because he seems to be attacking this guy a lot. Here I had the move that I had seen it before, queen c2, and even if he takes now, at some point he has to take with something that it's not check, so basically he cannot check because the rook is tied to defending the queen, so he needs to first solve the issue with the queen. He didn't want to trade queens, of course, because after the queen trade still he cannot take here because yeah, I think he can, but I'm gonna trade a lot of stuff, and he regained only one of the pawns, so the endgame is probably losing for him. I can't remember most of this stuff, but anyway, I know he didn't want to trade queens, and he played queen a3, putting definitely a lot of pressure in here. So what did I do? Defend. And after rook takes, I took back with the queen. So I have 3 defenders, should be enough to defend against 3 attackers, and my position is compact. I still cannot move this pawn, but I will try at some point to develop this guy over here. Position still around equal. My opponent plays a very good move, queen f3, attacking a lot of pawns. So it's time to give one of the pawns back, and I have to choose which one. So I went for, I need to solve this issue over here. As long as this bishop is here, I cannot move the e7 pawn. So I played king e8 to be able to develop, defended this guy over here, and asked him, what pawn do you want to take? So he took the central pawn, which seems alright. This was a very decent possibility to take here. Then I need to defend this guy, not with this because of the ping, I think, or maybe I can. Well, maybe I can do this. Ah no, rook takes e6. Sorry, yeah. So I need to defend it with the queen somehow. But by taking here, which, I mean, he wanted to take here because of course it's a more important pawn, but he allowed this move. And of course I'm not threatening the queen because my pawn is pinned, but I'm threatening to trade bishops, and if he tries to avoid it, he might be in some danger, I think. He traded, but I can't remember what was the deal with something like bishop d2, maybe too passive, maybe... I don't know, I can't remember, maybe queen c6 or something. Anyway, he took with the idea to take this other pawn here. So we finally got back to this endgame, which I liked, because even though my opponent got his 2 pawns back, I think I'm the only one that can win here because of this passer here. Engine prefers black, but not by a large margin. And I really like this position. That was like my dream came true. I survived the opening and the middle game and got to this position. My opponent is forced to win in a position that is very, very hard to win for white. This pawn is going to be weak, so worst case scenario, even if I lose this pawn, I think I'm not losing. So here he's sort of threatening this and take on g7. So I played, well, king g8 was a possibility, but I decided to find a better move. Maybe not better, but okay, I played queen c3, going for the counterattack, so there's no time for queen h8. This rook is still defended, that's important. And rook went to d1 to defend the pawn, because that was attacked, and now king g8. Okay, my opponent went h3 to prevent any back rank issues, and now queen c4, trying to control some important squares and to prepare the push of my own pawn. And he played queen f3, maybe looking for some activity, and why not b5. So the engine says this position is 0, absolutely equality, but I really like this pawn. It's getting really annoying. So my opponent decides to trade this guy over here, and why not? It might become very weak if he leaves it there, so I think it's a very good choice. And after ed, rook takes d4, it's what I mean. I mean, even if I lose this pawn, which I think I'm not losing, but even if I lose it, this 3 versus 2 I should never lose, I think. Anyway, I think I'm the only one playing for the win here, although engine says this is 0, this is equal. I played before, of course, and he went rook d3 to, you know, prevent me from ever pushing it more. So I played queen e6 with some ideas, some checking ideas, and yeah, also still controlling this square. And what did he do? Okay, now here it comes a move that the engine doesn't like at all. Queen to b7. He tried to go active, you know, attacking here and here, and still controlling my pawn from backwards, but yeah, maybe trying to go to the 7th rank with the rook. He tried to play active, I understand, but the problem is I have a very good combination now that is really, really strong, and I think he blundered it. He didn't see it, and I did see it. The idea is rook c1 check, queen e5 check, and then queen e1. And that's a really annoying idea, because then I'm gonna be threatening mates. So I went for it, rook check, queen check, so the king is not escaping, and queen here. And yeah, now it's annoying. An important point is that I'm controlling the e4 square, so he has no checks, no perpetuals, or, you know, no further checks. If he checks me with the rook after king h7, he has no checks. And yeah, this is a really strong threat now that has to be defended. And here it came his blunder, and I think okay, now it came the huge blunder, the one that loses the game on the spot. It passes from -1 to -3, but or -4, yeah, -4. But honestly, I only saw that move. I mean, I thought he had to play that move that he played. So I'm struggling to see what's the good move for white here. Maybe h4. Is h4 a move? No, but then I have queen g1, queen f1. g4 cannot be the move. So maybe check and h4. Maybe that's the idea. Because he went queen g2, which is kind of the obvious. Let me turn the engine on. It says, oh, now I see. Okay, rook d8 is losing. No. The engine was wrong. The engine was wrong. Because it's assessing the position as totally losing. Now it says this is -4 already. So the next move is not the blunder. The next move is not the blunder. Let me go back and see the evaluation after queen b7. Because queen b7 might have been the final, the most important blunder. He didn't. Okay, rook c1, queen e1, and here he played queen g2, which has to be played. What else? I'm also taking on f2, so and now of course rook c2, threatening this, and now yeah, white is basically lost. So I was lucky to have this counterplay, but only because of queen b7. Only because of this. He had my pawn controlled. I understand I'm not the only one that can win, that can push for the win, but queen b7 was a final blunder. And after queen g2, rook c2, threatening rook f2, and now he can resign, but he didn't. I mean, if he defends, I'm gonna just push the pawn. So he tried a different move. Instead of defending, he tried with rook e3, with the idea that if I take on f2, he takes my queen, I take his queen, and still can survive a pawn down in that rook ending. But of course I have a crashing, a very easy move to win on the spot. I did it, queen takes rook, and he resigned here because my pawn cannot be stopped. And that was my win against this international master back in a day in 2014. And I got a prize in this because of this win. It's a special one. It was very important, this moment in the middle of the game, this huge blunder by me. Neither of us saw the proper move order. But all in all, it's nice to have a game with 2 inaccuracies and 1 blunder, where my opponent makes 2 inaccuracies, 2 mistakes, and 2 blunders being an international master. What can I say? Nothing else to see here, I think. Okay, and that was it. That's all I'm going to analyze today. Thank you for being there, and I think I'm gonna move on to maybe playing some chess or some tourney or something. Give me 1 minute to restart the stream with another title and another setup. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes.